Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another Mystic Fitness Live Flow. My name is Kelly Mays, and I will be leading you through your next hour-long class. Got a little pollen up on the screen here. Yes, thank you for tuning in to another class. I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of it. My Wednesday morning class is back. Yesterday, you guys had Kelly, who is a fabulous teacher as well. We switched our Monday for Tuesday, but now we're back to our normal schedule. I got a little beach time in yesterday on a day off. It was wonderful. Wingershik Beach in Gloucester is open. So if any of you guys have a day off and you're looking for a little beach, of course, I did get a couple little spots of sunburn, but that's all good. Good morning, Pinal. As you're tuning in, say good morning, say hello. I'd love seeing you guys comment in. We're going to get Instagram up and going as well. So every morning we come live to you 9 a.m. Through Facebook as well as our Instagram page for Mystic Fitness. And this is a great way to access these free yoga classes on a regular basis. You can even mark your calendar for your favorite classes that you get to attend or the days off where you can attend. But no need to worry, because if you can't tune in at 9 in the morning, we always archive everything back onto our Facebook page so you can look at it later. In addition, then we're putting them all on our YouTube page. And YouTube is a great way to access our content without having to use any social media presence or any of that. So if you have family members or friends that want the free yoga, but they just don't want to use Facebook or Instagram, let them know that we're on YouTube. Send them a link. Send them one of our YouTube links. So we love the more exposure we can get, the more free yoga we can provide to this community, the better. If you are in a financial situation where you feel moved and you want to make a donation, we're taking donations at Mystic Fitness Venmo account. In no way is this necessary to enjoy our content. But if you do feel inclined to make a donation, then we will absolutely say thank you with either a handmade mask by Mary Beth, or you can also opt into getting one of our used props, such as a block, mat, strap. Even some of the yogitos that we like, the studio yogitos, stuff like that. So if you are lacking some props in your home, let us know. So we got Tom here, Cassia, Marty. Good morning, you guys. Happy to see you guys tuning in and saying good morning. That really makes a huge difference for me to see you guys comment. I did want to shout out, I don't know if they're watching, but the Tillets sent a beautiful note to us yesterday, a wonderful letter to us. We did receive it, and I'd be lying if it didn't make me kind of blush and smile a little bit. So thank you for your support, you guys. It was a letter that just kind of gave us a little information about the Tillets, and that was really interesting to learn about you guys, because all the time it's just kind of like a one-way mirror, right? I'm just kind of talking at you guys, and I never really get to hear how your days are going. So that was really nice, and I just wanted to show gratitude for taking their time out of their day to even write something like that for me. So if they're not watching now, hopefully they get this message later. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started this morning. Let's jump right into it. Come on to your mats. And usually on Wednesdays, my mom had been joining me to demonstrate, but she's back at work. She's back. She works for a very small company, and they weren't busy, so she was going in with some late hours, but now it's been very busy, so she's back at work. So come onto your mats, either seated or laying down, whatever feels good for you. The official start of our class will be laying down on our backs, so if you want to get there right away, you can do that as well. So just come into a laying down position. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Connecting to your breath and feeling the weight of the body on the earth. Noticing the points of contact where your skin is placed upon the ground on your mat. Relax into this position. Relax into your peace. Continue letting that breath move in through the lowermost belly, rise all the way up through the rib cage and collarbones. And the exhales is a slow descend all the way back down. I came across a quote this morning that read, "The obstacle does not block the path. The obstacle is the path." I'd like to ponder this for our class this morning. Use it as inspiration so that when we are faced with an obstacle or something that is a little bit more challenging or perhaps an unexpected twist within your plan, know that this is part of your plan. This is part of the path. As you take your next breath in, reach the arms above your head. Find a nice big stretch, toes pulling away from the fingertips. And if you are in a seated position, just come down onto your backs. Rolling up the wrists and ankles a couple times, really getting into the wrists in this position here to prepare for some weight bearing into the joints. Perhaps even lifting them above your chest and giving them a little shake. And then pulling the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a squeeze here, perhaps a little sway from left to right. Massaging the sides of your back. And then bringing the hands onto the knees and just creating some breaststroke-like motions, letting the knees come away from the body and then back in. Just creating these little individual circles between each knee. And taking that in the opposite rotation when you're ready. Your eyes can remain soft here and closed, or maybe just slightly open. Letting the feet drop to the floor and walking them to the outer edges of your mat with bent knees, opening the arms up into a T, and then taking some rocking of the knees from left to right here. Letting this go as slow as your breath is moving or as fast as your breath is moving. Just enjoying the journey between left and right side, letting those knees come to center and then drop to the opposite direction. And I'd like to start this morning getting right into our ab work. Let's cross that off our list here. Let's start with what it feels like to engage our abdominals. So right now, as you're laying flat on the ground, you're not really engaging those abdominals. They're just very soft. Tense them up while letting breath move naturally. So we're going to take the knees above the hips and let the shins be parallel to the sky. Flex your feet. Make sure that the lower back didn't become detached from the earth. You want all vertebrae of the spine on the ground. Bring your palms to your thighs and press the thighs away, but keep the thighs exactly where they are. So you're finding this kind of contrast of pressing and letting those legs kind of pull. So you'll notice that that activates the outer edges of your abdominals and your pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor is the lowermost part of your abs and your belly, and it controls the flow of urine. So if you guys can get a little visual of what that location would be like. Keep pressing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now pull the right knee in towards the chest and either take left sole of the foot to the earth or extend left leg long down your mat, wind relieving pose. So we're getting a gentle squeezing sensation through the right hip flexor. Maybe you're rotating through the right ankle. You're just getting a little opening through the hips here. So a lot of times when we do abs on our backs like this, it can be a little intense for the neck and hip flexors. Now from here, we can also take a little core engagement. I want you to If that left sole of the foot is on the ground, I want you to extend the left leg long, but keep the heel lifted to a hover. We're going to pulse some heel taps here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Both knees pull in towards the chest. And then pull the left knee in, extend right foot to the earth or long down your mat. Wind relieving pose on the left side. So this time we're getting a little squeezing through the left hip flexor, perhaps rotating left ankle. And then we'll take those heel taps. So lift that right heel to a hover and tap for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both knees pull in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then bring the palms underneath the tush here. Extend the legs up to the sky. We're going to take some scissor kicks. So letting one leg drop and then the other leg drop to a hover for 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All those feet reach up to the sky. Take a nice big stretch here. Breathe in and breathe out. Point and flex the feet. Lower them 6 inches. Point and flex. Lower another 6. Point, flex, lower, point, flex, lower, point, flex, lower to a hover. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull those knees into the chest. We'll take that one more time. Extend the legs up to the sky. Point and flex, lower, point, flex, lower, point, flex, lower, point, flex. Hover for 10, 9, 8, 7. Squeeze the glutes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull those knees in towards the chest. Give yourself another squeeze. A little rock side to side. And then either rocking into a fetal position to pick yourself up to a seat or rock back and forth a couple times. Eventually landing in your seated position. And we'll just take a couple little movements here really quick. Roll the shoulders a couple times in one direction and then in the other direction. Take any movements you need through your neck here. And then we'll transition into our table pose. So find your way there. If you need any movement through the wrist or shoulders, take your time. Let's get into some spinal movements here. Inhale, drop the chest, gaze forward. And with the exhale, curl the spine as you press the floor away and tuck the pelvis under. Inhale, arch and open. Exhale, curl and round. Taking these movements here, and this is a great way too to kind of identify the extremes that your spine can go in. So most of the time we're in a flat back, right? But then we can find these extremes of an extreme arch and then an extreme curl. So these are natural ranges of motion for the spine, and they should feel good. If you're going past your limit, notice if you need to kind of take it down a notch. Finding some hip circles here, rotating the pelvic bowl in one direction and then in the other. And how good does it feel to know that we crossed those abs off of our list? We'll still have a little bit of core engagement, of course, through our standing postures and our chaturangas. Take these motions in the opposite direction when you feel ready for that. Maybe even lingering in a gentle upward facing dog for a moment. And then sending those hips back, finding a child's pose here. So the knees can be close together or far apart from one another. And you just let your upper body just kind of lower, finding this bowing-like position. And keeping my head a little bit lifted so the audio doesn't sound like garbage. And this is a great location where you can connect back to any intention. Perhaps coming back to this quote that we were talking about earlier of the obstacle is not blocking your path. It is the path. Coming back up into your table pose, planting the fingers on the ground, making sure the palms are actively pressing into the earth, tucking the toes under and lifting the knees up, hips pull up and back, downward facing dog. Start to pedal your dog here, bending through one knee and then the opposite, letting one heel drop and the other heel pick up. Notice if you're kind of crunching your neck here. I want you guys to imagine you're a little turtle poking its head out of its shell, relaxing the shoulders down and away from your ears. And again, those hands are doing some work here. They're pressing and kind of grasping onto the earth, kind of like a little tree frog. You know, those little tree frogs with the big pads on their fingertips. This is the kind of thing that I visualize when I'm in my downward facing dog postures. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. Open up your hip by bending the knee and dialing the right heel over towards the left side of your room, pointing that right knee up to the sky. Inhale, lengthen the right leg, square your hips, and with the exhale, pull the knee in towards the chest. Hold here for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, right leg reaches back up to the sky, and with the exhale, pull the knee in towards the chest. Land in your runner's lunge. Starting by bending and letting that left knee drop to the ground and finding some back and forth presses through that right hamstring. You can always have blocks underneath the palms, and if your knees are sensitive, you don't have to drop the knee. You can keep it lifted and find back and forth presses in a standing position. You might also consider bringing a cushion underneath that left knee, like a little face cloth or bandana. And I absolutely love this dynamic movement because not only are we accessing our right hamstring as we send the hips back, we're also accessing the left hip flexor as we press the hips forward. Last one or so here. And then we will come back to a proper runner's lunge. So frame the foot with your hands, tuck left toes under, and pick that left knee up. Finding a runner's lunge, hover by slowly picking that chest up and pulling the fingertips back with the palms facing down. So there's this contrast effect of the crown of the head reaching forward and the hands reaching backwards so that you have this nice long spine and neck. Shoulders are pulling down and away from the ears. Here's your inhale and exhale. Inhale, rise to find your crescent lunge. Setting it up here, making sure that the feet are hip distance apart. There's a slight bend to that back left knee. Inhale, rise. And with the exhale, find a slow and controlled dip down. Inhale, lift. And exhale, dip. 8 more. 7. 6, 5, 4, really squeeze those glutes. 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, arms reach up, extend. And with the exhale, dial left heel down, open it up, warrior 2. Now in your warrior 2, those feet are not stuck in cement. You can always readjust them to make them feel a little bit more stable into the earth. So you want to make sure your foundation is really strong. So that means that the right toes are pressing forward and the back edge of your left foot is pressing for the back of your room. Open those arms. Let's find 3 breaths in our warrior 2. Relax the shoulders, but keep the arms nice and strong. Make sure that left hip isn't sassing out. Try to keep the hips stacked below shoulders. With the inhale, lengthen through the right leg. Bring the fingertips to touch overhead. And with the exhale, open it up, warrior 2. This time, inhale, maybe you rock onto the right heel so the toes point up. Exhale, warrior two. Last two. And one. Hold in your best warrior two yet. Inhale, flip right palm, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior and hold. So we talked about these core engagements that we're going to be going through as we're in a standing position. So as much as this is a leg workout, this is also an ab workout if you really squeeze those abs together but let breath move naturally. So the reason why I say let breath move naturally is because sometimes when we're trying to engage our core, we suck our belly in. And it's less of a sucking and more of a tensing, right? We want to make sure that the breath is moving. Bring those right fingertips onto your shin and then lengthen slowly through that right leg. Keep a micro bend through right knee. We're coming into our triangle position. Notice if you started to drop the right fingertips and that made your hips sink backwards. I want you to try to keep your alignment. If anything, keep your chest lifted and make sure those hips are stacked in one line. Inhale and exhale. Now we can really activate our core here. If we pick the right fingertips up off of the shin and lengthen them to the front of your room, breathe in, breathe out. Last inhale and exhale, return back to your warrior two. Let's turn those heels in, toes out, goddess pose. Take a moment to bounce in and out of your goddess pose just a couple times. I want you to explore what this feels like as you sink those hips down deeper. You're getting more of pressure on your hip flexors. So we want that happy medium right in the center where we can really press the heels into the ground, keep those thighs engaged, but we're not dipping into our hip flexors. We're keeping ourselves lifted a little bit here. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, circle, sweep the arms, reach up, turn the toes in. And with the exhale, open the arms into a T and slowly hinge forward. Here's our wide-legged forward fold. Relax the head, shake it yes and no. Perhaps a little rocking side to side. Taking one more breath here. And then we'll start to slowly walk our fingertips towards our right foot, coming back into a runner's lunge. Walking the fingertips a little bit more forward, left leg extends up into a standing split just for a moment here. Keep that left foot flexed so the toes are pointed to the ground so that you're not opening through left hip. We want to try to keep those hips level here in one line. And with the exhale, we're going to let that left foot land in a forward fold at the top of our mat. Take a couple breaths here, maybe with a deep bend in the knees, coming into a ragdoll pose. Or maybe you're looking for something a little bit more intense, perhaps grabbing on to the backs of the ankles and kind of using that grasp to kind of pull your chest down a little bit. Inhale for a halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, arm circle, sweep up. And with the exhale, bring the hands to your heart, sink down into a chair pose. So we're taking a little detour before we find that on the left side. So we're sending those hips back. Feet are hip distance apart unless you prefer the feet together. I like to keep my feet hip distance apart because it gives a little bit more space for my hips. Sink those hips back. Make sure that you're not arching through your spine. Try to keep that pelvis tucked right below you. So remember, we did that in the cat and cows. We found these extremes of our spine. Now we're looking for that middle point. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up, grow nice and high, press the pelvis forward, squeeze your glutes, and exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale is your halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, stepping or taking a little hop, back to your plank pose. Now we're in our first plank of the morning, so let's set this up. Make sure you have a micro bend through the elbows. Chest is pulling gently forward. Heels are pressing back. Everything is squeezed here. This is a full body workout. So the calves all the way to thighs, glutes, core. The only thing that's relaxed is that beautiful face, maybe a smile. Drop those knees to the ground and slowly lower all the way with your elbows pointing back, chaturanga. Inhale for a low cobra, peel that chest up, shoulders come towards one another, and exhale, release. Making your way back to your downward facing dog, and you might choose to find a quick little sip of water. Now we have to take that on the left side. So we started by extending the left leg up to the sky, and then opened the hip by bending the left knee, dropping left heel over to the right. Notice that some of your weight wants to kind of dump into that right shoulder. Try to keep the shoulders square. Inhale, lengthen left leg, square the hips. Exhale, pull the knee into the chest. Hold here for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, re-extend left leg up. And exhale, knee to chest. Step to your runner's lunge. Start by dropping right knee to the ground and pressing back and forth, bending and extending through the left leg. Now again here, if you have any knee sensitivity, you can always keep that right knee extended up, or perhaps taking a towel or some sort of squishy fabric and placing it underneath the knee. And again, we're stretching through the left hamstring as we extend the leg long, and then getting a little movement through that right hip flexor as we press the hips forward. Here's your last breath. Let's return back into our runner's lunge. So re-bend through that left knee. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart as you tuck right toes under. Pick that right knee up. Starting to lift our chest as we pull the arms back. Here's your runner's lunge hover. For a moment, flip those palms up to the sky. Notice what that does to the shoulders, and then flip the palms down. That's the activity we want here. We want an opening through the shoulders and chest. Crown pulls forward, fingertips reach back. Here's your inhale and exhale. Inhale, rise to your crescent lunge, arms reach up overhead. Let's set this up so that we feel stable by finding a gentle bend through that right knee and making sure the feet are hip distance apart. With the inhale, rise and extend. Really squeeze everything as you lift. And on the exhale, find a slow dip. Inhale, rise, and exhale, dip. Here's 8 more. Lift and dip. 7, 6. Lunges like this are so crucial for our yoga class to make sure our legs are nice and strong. Keep it going. Here's 4, 3. This is a great hip flexor strengthener as well as glute strengthener. Here's your last one. Inhale, reach up, extend, and exhale, dial right heel down. Open up to your warrior 2. Now again, in your warrior 2, set your feet up so that you feel stable. This is a personal thing for you. You want to have your solid foundation, but you also want to play with the rules, right? So the main point of this pose that you need to make sure that you're keeping your body in line, make sure that the left knee does not go past the ankle. That puts a lot of pressure on the front part of your knee. Make sure left toes face forward, back edge of the right foot presses to the back of your mat. Warrior 2. Breathe in, breathe out. One more breath in stillness. Inhale, lengthen left leg, fingertips come to touch. Maybe you rock onto the left heel. And exhale, warrior 2. 3 more. Inhale, rise. Exhale, warrior. Squeeze the glutes here. Any opportunity we can get to grow those glutes and make them stronger, we'll take it. Here's your last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, warrior two. Hold your best warrior. Notice if that right hip is now sassing. We don't want any sass here. Keep those hips right below the shoulders. Well, maybe a little sass, but not in the hips. All right, inhale, flip left palm, reverse your warrior. And with the exhale, extend your warrior. Hold here. So in your extended side angle, this is as much of a core workout as we do on our backs, right? In our bicycles or anything like that. Squeeze those abdominals. Let breath move naturally, though. Don't squeeze so hard that you lose that breath. It's a beautiful contrast between the two. Now bringing left fingertips onto left shin and extending left leg. Make sure you don't hyperextend the knee. Keep a micro bend through that left leg. Notice if you're trying to kind of drop your way into this. This looks pretty, but it's not functional, right? We want to make sure that we're stacked and that those hips are pressing forward, right? Squeeze through those glutes. If you're looking for an extra layer of abs, maybe you reach the left arm up towards the front of your room. Try to keep that chest rotated open towards the screen. Breathe in and out. Last inhale here. And exhale, warrior two. We're going to come into our goddess pose, so turn those heels in, toes out. So as much as, and you can kind of bounce in and out of this a couple times, so as much strengthening as we get through movement, we also surprisingly get a lot of strengthening and engagement when we hold poses just as is. So let's find that. Let's hold this goddess pose for 10 seconds. Hands can be wherever feels best. Press those heels into the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7. Maybe you start to sink a little bit lower without sacrificing the stability of this pose. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rise, arms reach up overhead. And then with the exhale, goddess, open the arms into a T. Let the fingertips come down and interlace like a little basket at your lower belly. Inhale, lift the basket up to your chest. And exhale, press the basket away as you sink back into your goddess pose. Arms reach up overhead and out into a T. Inhale, rise, arms reach up, lengthen through your legs. Exhale, open the arms into a T. Find your goddess pose. Find that basket by interlacing the hands right at lower belly. Inhale, lift that energy up to your chest. Exhale, push it away as you sink back into your goddess pose. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, lift up, turn the toes in, finding a wide-legged position. Either choosing to open the arms up into a T or bring them behind the lower back, interlace them, and open your chest with the inhale. Exhale, slowly hinging forward. If you do have interlaced hands, let's reach them up like you're trying to drag your knuckles across the sky rather than letting your knuckles kind of drop behind the head. I want you to reach them up so that you really open your chest, neck, and upper back. If this grip is not serving a purpose, go ahead and release it. Find 2 more breaths here. When you're on your last breath, go ahead and release your fingertips back to the ground. And then walking the fingers over towards left foot, coming into a runner's lunge on the left side. Walking those fingers a little bit forward so that you can find a standing split. You might also do this with blocks underneath the hands. In your standing split, you want to keep that right toes pointed to the ground in a flexed position. This way you're not tempted to open up through the right hip. See that? You can take a look in the monitor for a second. So this is kind of coming into an open hip standing split. What we're looking for is dialing that right hip to be in line with left hip. This is getting an intense hamstring stretch on the left side. Go ahead and start to land that right foot next to left. We're back in our forward fold at the top of our mat. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, halfway lift. And with the exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up, reach long. And with the exhale, let's sink into that chair pose. I'm going to turn to face this side so you guys can see where we're going. In your chair pose, let's this time make sure those feet are hip distance apart. We're sending the hips back. We're going to pulse on our tippy toe. So right tippy toe, heel, and left tippy toe, and land. Right, left. For 10, 9, 8, 7, sink those hips back, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rise up, squeeze the glutes, press the hips forward, and exhale, wash it clean with a forward fold. Shake the head yes and no. We're going to stay here for a minute or so, just kind of relaxing, coming back to our breath. Inhale to your halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up, reach, and exhale, hands to heart. We're going to come into some balancing postures next. So I want you to take this at the top of your mat, but I'm going to turn to face the front just so you guys can see this setup. We're going to come into an eagle pose. So ground those feet into the ground, especially the right leg. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And with the exhale, bringing the arms out into a T, dropping the right arm and grabbing and, sweeping it under left arm, coming into eagle position with the arms. So you can either come into a full bind or you can grab onto the shoulders. This is a little bit more comfortable for me personally because I have a little bit of shoulder issues. We're going to start this pose by sinking those hips down and then taking left leg up and over right leg for a eagle position. Now you can keep those left toes on the ground, kind of a little bit more supported, or you're going to keep those left toes lifted, maybe even starting to bring them behind right calf. Notice if those knees want to kind of jut out to the right, try to keep them in the midline, so nice and centered. The more you send your shoulders back, the easier balance becomes here. So if you're humbling forward, most of your weight is coming forward, but if you balance yourself so that the weight is almost like in one midline, this makes it a little easier. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Now stay with me. Keep the arms exactly as they are. Start to unwrap left leg and send it behind you for an eagle warrior 3. So a flexed left foot starts to reach behind you. Chest becomes parallel to the ground. And that grip is either on the shoulders or you're coming into that full bind and extending the palms and fingertips towards the front of the room. Breathe in and out. We're going to come back into our eagle. Very difficult. Start to bring that left leg up and re-wrap it behind right leg. Eagle pose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, arms and legs unwind, landing in your mountain pose. And with the exhale, hinge from the hips, a quick forward fold here. You might even come into a Malasana squat, letting those hips sink back. This is also a good place to get a little drink of water. We're preparing for the other side. And maybe just a quick reminder that these obstacles, these challenges that we face are not stopping us from our path. They are actually leading us into our path even more. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And exhale, hands to heart, ground here with the inhale. And exhale. Let's take that to the other side. Plant the weight into left foot. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. Exhale, left arm sweeps underneath right for your eagle posture. Again, either choosing to bring the fingertips on your shoulders or finding that full bind. Sinking those hips back, taking right leg up and over left leg. Again, those toes can stay on the ground, or you can find a little bit more of a challenge by trying to bring the right foot behind left calf. Again, sink those hips down to make this a little bit more challenging, but also a little easier for balance. Send those shoulders back so that the back is nice and flat. Shoulders stack right above hips. 3, 2, 1. You guys know where we're going. We're going for that Eagle Warrior 3. Start to unwrap right leg. Send it behind you with a flexed foot. We keep that foot flexed so that we can engage through the right leg and dial right hip down. Now the upper body is becoming parallel to the floor, but we're going to try to keep that chest lifted just a touch. Hold here for one more breath. Slowly, we're coming back to our eagle by wrapping that right leg around left leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, unwind, arms reach up, and exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Relax here for a moment. Shake the head, yes and no. Inhale for your halfway lift. And exhale, hands plant, stepping or hopping back to your plank pose. Holding in your plank pose for 10 seconds, really pressing the chest forward, squeezing through the entire body for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Stick with this challenge. This is your path. 2, 1. Find your best version of a chaturanga. Slowly lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or low cobra. And with the exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Starting to wind down a little bit here. We'll start with the pigeon pose. If you like to take a reclined pigeon or a seated pigeon, you can find your way there on your own. If you're going for a prone pigeon, inhale, right leg up to the sky, and with the exhale, right knee towards right wrist, pigeon pose. Now, in our pigeon pose, it's very important that that right thigh is parallel to the long edge of the mat. This is very important. That means that the knee and hip are in one line. If you want to make a modification to this pose, you can bring a block underneath right glute so that you're kind of seated a little bit higher, or opening up left knee out to the left. That way you're kind of in more of a seated position. Wherever you choose to be, this is going to be your pose for the next several breaths. So perhaps keeping your chest open for a moment or two, finding this proud pigeon, even a slight little back bend, and then perhaps lowering, relaxing yourself down. I like to bring a block underneath my head just to kind of keep my shoulders and neck relaxed. Find several breaths here. Each exhale, you want to try to soften a little bit more. Perhaps revisiting that intention that we set. Identifying the challenges and using them to fuel us to get even deeper on our path. I think we're all living through a living example of that, of how we thought our life was possibly going in one direction. We had things planned, parties, weddings, and advances in our jobs, vacations. And then we got thrown this obstacle. And rather than seeing it as a hindrance or seeing it as it's trying to stop your growth, It's actually doing the opposite. It's making you grow in a way that you maybe didn't anticipate. But nonetheless, you're growing. Let's take this to the other side. Slowly start to prop yourself up. Bring your palms to the ground. Tuck left toes under. If you'd like, you can send the right leg up and back for a quick 3-leg dog. Maybe open your hip. And then we'll take that to the other side, coming into a downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps up. And with the exhale, left knee towards left wrist, prone pigeon position. Now again, the same rules can be applied here. You can take that block underneath left glute or open up right knee out to the right. Here's your prone pigeon pose. Set this up so that that left thigh is parallel to the long edge of the mat, so knee and hip are in one line. Perhaps keeping that chest lifted for a moment. And perhaps hinging your way forward and relaxing. Make sure the shoulders are relaxed. Notice if you're kind of tensing through that left hip and really relax it. That's the name of the game here. This pose is looking for a surrender from you. And I think sometimes we have this negative opinion on the word surrender that might mean defeat. But I would disagree. I would say surrendering is one of the most difficult things that we can do. Handing over control is not an easy thing. And when you surrender to something like this yoga pose, you're able to access so many more benefits than if you were trying to force them to happen. And surrender doesn't mean giving up, it means giving in to the flow. 2 more breaths here. Slowly starting to prop yourself up the same way we got into it. Tucking right toes under, perhaps extending left leg up and back, maybe opening the hip. And we'll all meet on our backs, taking your time to arrive. Perhaps getting a drink of water along the way. And then relaxing all the way back down into the earth. Reaching nice and long through the arms and legs, finding a nice deep stretch here. Pulling the knees into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze, perhaps a little sway. Dropping the soles of the feet onto the earth, opening the arms up into a T. Let's lift the hips up into the air and drop them over towards the left or right side, and then drop the knees over to the left. Reclining twist. Couple options that you might choose to take are maybe bringing a block in between the knees and letting the knees stack on top of one another with a block in between. Or you might take that left ankle and pick it up over right thigh. This becomes a little bit more of a side stretchy twist kind of sensation. Breath is very important in your twists. And twists like this are great for the internal organs, getting a little movement and detoxification. If you're in anything funky, go ahead and come back. Pull the knees to center, hips to center. And then pick those hips up, send them over towards the left, knees over towards the right. Taking any modifications here that you like. And again, breath. Coming back to center and finding a last pose of your choice. So perhaps a reclining bound angle, letting the soles of the feet come together, knees flop out. Perhaps a waterfall pose by extending the legs up to the sky, or happy baby. Wherever you are, just find 2 breaths in that pose and either choose to stay in that pose for your final Shavasana or relaxing into your final Shavasana. Finding that surrender. Recognizing your surrender as strength rather than defeat or weakness. Letting this nurturing breath come over you. Obstacles do not block the path. They are the path. And the only way we can truly grow is by facing the challenges presented in front of us. And of course, there will be times of failure. But see those times of failure almost like a lesson. See these obstacles as the gifts that they are. Thank you, life, for challenging me. Thank you for seeing the worth within me and providing me with this obstacle. We need this to continue growth. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go. Again, inhale and exhale. Taking the next 5 breaths to invite some gentle movements, reawakening through your physical body. Perhaps pulling the knees into the chest and giving yourself a squeeze. Even rocking into a fetal position to pick yourself up into your meditative seat when you're ready. Once you've arrived, bringing your hands over heart. And I invite you to go through the rest of your day, welcoming all of the challenges that arise. We'll seal our practice in with the sound of Om, starting with a cleansing breath. Breathe in and out. And for Om, inhale. And the light within my heart bows to the light within yours. Namaste. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in to another Mystic Fitness Live Flow. We really appreciate your unconditional support. I got a nice little good morning. Thank you, thank you. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. If you have any suggestions or anything for class, please let me know. Tom, I'm usually counting on you for a little inspiration, so if you're dying for a certain posture, let me know. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Namaste.